For the first question this afternoon, how have you enjoyed the first 2 months of being in the office? 3. Yeah, actually 3.
No, actually, even though times are very difficult, I feel good about what we're doing. And you may have seen some of the write-ups, because it is about just doing the right thing. And that's the benchmark of the support I'm getting from the administration. And what I'll tell you, one thing that has encouraged me, 2 things in fact. One is I'm asking sacrifices from state employees. Because I meet state employees and I do employee lunches almost every week with line people, frontline people. These are fabulous people. And they've been caught in this bureaucracy, and I get excited about, let's get the bureaucracy out of their way and let them run, let them be creative, let them give great customer service. It's all there. The second part that I really appreciate are all the kind words from a lot of people. I mean, in fact, the sister mentioned me in her prayer. That is meaningful. That does mean something. And so that does give you positive encouragement to say, go. So thank you.
Mr. Governor, it has been stated that 40% of college graduates are leaving the state. What are you doing to entice them to stay in Michigan now, and what are your future plans?
Great question, because we are losing far too many of our young people. And that is a fundamental question. And I've got 3 kids. I've got a 22-year-old son, I've got a 19-year-old daughter, and a 14-year-old daughter. And I want them to stay in Michigan. The number 1 thing we need to do is really simple. More and better jobs. A lot of them are leaving because we don't have the jobs here. The next level beyond that, one of the reasons they were leaving before we had the job crisis, was quality of place. That's one of the reasons I believe we need Detroit on the path to being a great city again. A lot of these young people are looking for that urban environment. We need to deliver it to them. We need to focus on our central cities across the state and show results there. One thing I will ask of each one of you, though, because it's not about government solving all these problems. It's about all of us participating. One thing that kept me in Detroit in 1982, and I bet if you go check, the unemployment rate was actually higher then than it is today, when I got out of school, was mentorship. I took a job in the Rent Center in Detroit. I only knew 2 people in all of Metro Detroit. I'm from Battle Creek. What kept me here is these people said they would mentor my career. A guy named Jerry Wolf, John Heitman at Cooperson Library. And they did. And so I'll ask you, I've asked audiences many times, I'll tell you the results from town halls. When I ask people how many people are mentoring people, I get about 5% of the hands going up. 5 to 10%. And then I'll ask people how many people would be willing to mentor someone. It's about 80 to 90% of your hands would go up. Think of the power of that without government getting involved. If 70% of us would all stand up and say, coming out of this meeting, you're going to go find a young person you're going to mentor, that's going to make a tremendous difference. People helping people.
Governor, can you please comment on the situation in Wisconsin? How may it relate to Michigan?
First of all, we're not Wisconsin, for obvious reasons. And I'm not trying to be offensive to people in Wisconsin. I got a lot of good friends there. It's a great state. But if you look at it philosophically, as I mentioned the sister and acknowledged her for solving problems, that's the approach that I believe in taking. I'm here to solve problems. I'm not here to pick fights. We've got problems to solve. We shouldn't waste our time fighting. So in fact, when it came to the issue of collective bargaining, the central issue in Wisconsin, I'm happy to work through collective bargaining. I said that in our budget message. I've continually said I'm happy to go through collective bargaining with people through that process. It's interesting, there are only people outside of the state and some here that are trying to make us like Wisconsin. And what I'll tell you is my path is to stay very focused. I'm not going to fight with them. I'm simply going to keep saying I'm happy to work through collective bargaining. And we are not Wisconsin. We're a group of Michiganders that have enough work here getting our act together and not get involved in broader national messes. So let's stay focused on, as Michiganders on Michigan, we have our opportunity to take some leadership in this country, and let's go.
Governor, will you consider changes to our current K-12 funding system to allow local communities more options to finance their schools?
That sounds like a funding question. challenges for our local communities, and they're going through very difficult times. Well, I would say we're going to do a special message on education in April. And in that message, one of the key things there is to step back from the funding question to say, how do we deliver real results for our kids and create an environment where we can all succeed? Because in particular, I think we need to do a better job of supporting our teachers, the frontline people delivering education. We've got great teachers in the state. But it really comes down to how do we show more meaningful results for our children, because we're not succeeding there. One of the challenges I'll tell you that is a vast concern of mine that I'm absolutely amazed it doesn't get more press coverage is I've talked to a lot of community college people. And I love community colleges. I started in a community college, so it's not a comment on the community colleges, but if you go to a community college leader and ask them how many remedial classes they're teaching, what percentage of the high school grads that are coming to them now are having to take a remedial class before they're qualified to take an entry-level college class? You know what some of the percentages I've gotten back from these people are? And these are nice areas. I'm talking about not just areas you might guess, but I'm talking good areas of the state you'd expect great numbers. The percentage of remedial classes is over 50%. That's a travesty. And so we need to look at fundamentally reforming our system, focusing on the students first, then focusing on the teachers, and focusing on delivering great results. And that's what you're going to start hearing about the next month or so.
Governor, there are so many vacant homes in our communities. Are there any plans for MSHDA incentives to help families buy some of these homes and help our diminishing property tax base?
We don't have anything on the horizon right now because that would be a very broad extension. I mean, the key that you come back to on the home price front, what would be the greatest aid for home prices in our state? Jobs. So it comes back to the more and better jobs question, getting our economy going, and that would do more to bring back our housing market than any other single action. So again, we need to stay focused on this jobs question.
Governor, to attract more business through improved infrastructure, would you consider establishing toll roads like so many other states have?
Interesting question. The challenge with that is, in some places you might think that was possible. Really, in Michigan, it's not a viable option because we've already committed our roads as freeways. So the way it worked with the federal government is we got the road funding to build freeways. The only way you could do a toll road system is if it was new lanes, high occupancy lanes. If people wanted to expand and add lanes, that's something to talk about theoretically making a price product. But that's not something on the immediate horizon because it would only apply to new things. What I want to do is we need to fix our crumbling infrastructure first. So before we look at adding new roads, my view is let's repair what we got because it's not good today.